First and foremost, I mean, I really sometimes don't quite get the light meters. To me, this looks lighter than times throughout the day where we weren't playing. So it's a tricky one. The batters look like they were having a good time. And I feel for the crowd a little bit in these sort of scenarios, don't you? You got the lights on, been starved of a bit of play, but it is the way it is. They have the sort of foundation that's been set. So frustration, Andy's got something on his...
Should we stop calling it bad light and just call it the wrong type of light? Yes. Moderate light?
Moderate light.
Yes.
I guess because there's a sort of... They set a baseline, and then regardless, then after that, you're kind of in trouble, really, aren't you? Even if it feels like it's improved.
One thing, I suppose one day we'll get an umpire and ask them that. Actually, is it the same light everywhere? So is there a one particular reading that it goes down to, and that's it across the whole world? Do you see what I mean?
Well, I don't know about that. They put it on top of the stumps.
Yeah,
yes, I do.
So if it gets to, I don't know, a random figure, 7.2 or something.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, we can't play.
That could be different. That could be different in Calcutta than it is at the Oval.
Well, why though?
Well, I think it's just different atmospheric sort of conditions.
Right.
You can get a really bright low light, and you can get a really strong low light.
Right, okay.
No, because you in some parts of the world you lose the light very quickly, don't you? It's there, and then there's no twilight, is there?
So you can actually go off.
So you can have good
like
bad
some
light.
places with the sun almost out still, because it's just different.
Yes, that's right, absolutely. I can remember, well, me and my old mate Graham Thorpe fending off in Antigua, Curtly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh, and we could
You were calling for that light meter.
Well, no, we could virtually see the sun setting. It was in Antigua, and when it sets, there's that sort of green splash, isn't there, or something?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's called, where you all used, I used to go up and sit on the hill and watch it. Then go, there's a sort of green flash. And we would just go, I reckon we got 2 overs. Come on, Cat, keep going. And then I just nicked him, got caught short leg. But you could virtually see it going down, But this has just been a dull old day, isn't it? All day, and perhaps they're just thinking to themselves, it's getting a bit late in the day.
Sometimes sometimes it feels like it should be the batter's call, as in.
Well, it used to be, didn't it?
Yeah, if you feel
why did that stop?
You see it. You're not feeling rushed. You're not feeling threatened. Continue.
Why did that stop?
I feel that should be the measure. Obviously, there maybe needs to be a baseline of what's too low, but. If the batters look comfortable at the crease.
I think the reason it stopped was because in the end they decided that. So sometimes the batters would bat on if it suited them, and other times they would come off, and that seemed a bit unfair to the fielding side. And I suppose if it's really dark, say, and the batters are thrashing it everywhere, and actually sometimes it becomes harder for the fielders to see it than for the batters to see it.
Correct.
Because at least with the bat, you know where it's coming from. Whereas if you're a fielder square with a wicket on the offside or whatever, and it's flashed at you, I mean, it could sizzle past your face, couldn't it?
Well, absolutely. Talking to my mate again, what was it? Pakistan.
Yeah.
Nasser and Chalky out in the middle. They were hitting them. No one knew where the ball was. I can remember Inzi or someone just standing there, and it just sort of rolled past him.
Yeah, Steve Buckner basically said, right,
you're having it anyway.
Yeah, because there was so much time wasting. I think that was the point, wasn't it?
I quite like that, though.
What, time wasting?
No, not time wasting. Just
the drama.
Well, what was there? There was a blast game the other day or something. It was raining. Or something, it was dark and what have you, and they stayed on. So I don't quite know what's the difference between that blast game and this game. And
I suppose in a blast game, you've got the lights and the white ball,
but it was actually sort of raining quite hard.
The rain coming,
and occasionally in the 100, they've decided
to play through.
Just play through. We got everyone in. We're all having a good time.
It is interesting, though, isn't it? I remember early doors before I knew what a sight screen was. Grew up playing counter cricket. You didn't know. You're playing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you realise, hold on, I can have a sight screen. I got fully into, excuse me, umpire, can we move it to the left, move it? But before I knew the whole rules, you just kind of sucked it up. It was coming out the trees and you just focused your brain. So I think there's so much on sometimes of, what gets in your brain, this doesn't look any different really.
I mean, it's gloomy. It is.
It's definitely gloomy.
It's gloomy.
But would you say it's gloomier than it was? That's what I was going to ask you. It is gloomy.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
No, it's not.
The batters looked all right.
Yeah, and people did get frustrated. I mean, you heard the the boos when they all walked off. People want to
I think if I had a ticket today, I would boo. Probably.
You're not a booer, are
well,
you?
I think if I had a ticket today, I might have done. Yeah.
What sort of sat down boo or stand up boo? Sort of like
yeah, both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I then would have got to my feet. But
Left
I
field
think
conversation.
The reason being that you are frustrated, aren't you? You just want them to play. Although you can understand, you know, we all know, we've seen it happen so often. We all know why they've gone off. But you just got a bit
Left
of
field
frustration.
conversation. I know you're going to say no. But if someone said, look, to keep Test playing, at this stage you can bring out a white ball, similar overs.
Well, I think you couldn't play white ball. You'd have to be a pink ball, wouldn't it?
Pink ball,
because
sorry,
of the
because of the
sight screen.
But if just hypothetically, I'm saying these situations happen more. Would you ever be open to that, or does it need to maintain the red ball?
Well,
I know no one wants that, but
I remember
Would it be an old
but I'm
white
saying-
ball? Would it be an old white ball or a new white
or
ball?
sorry, let's say pink ball.
Would it be an old pink ball?
Yes,
or
same overs as.
Well, they can't even do that when they change the ball.
that's the problem. How do you get a pink ball that's 30 overs old, 40 overs old, 50 overs, you know?
But the difference
you probably
is
could,
losing 3 to 4 to 5 hours play today.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to try to play. I remember suggesting this same thing, and Jeremy Coney was sitting there, former New Zealand captain. He said, you cannot do that. You just cannot. No, he said. It's not the way to go. But you know what? Who's it for? Who's the game for? I mean, it's an interesting question, isn't it? I mean, the players are important. They are a big
Question for you here then. If it was Australia for the Ashes, would we then be going, oh no, you know what I mean?
There's no way we'd change.
What, 220 for 3, don't want to lose any more wickets tonight? That sort of thing. You're 2-1 up in the series. Well, here in 2005, I remember there was on perhaps the third, fourth evening when the crowd cheered because they went off a bad light because it stopped the Australians making progress in the game.
There you go.
Everyone stopped and cheered. So they had paid all this money for an Ashes ticket, and the players walked off. And the crowd were cheering again.
Can't have your cake.
The tough is if you're on a fourfer, you spin it around corners.
Yes.
And they say, mate, because of the light, you can either stay on and bowl another hour. You know your fifer's right in there. You know you're spinning it, but you have to take a pink ball.
Yeah.
Same age, but you can then stay on, play another hour or two.
Yeah.
Would you take the hour or two, or you say?
It wouldn't bother me. Wouldn't bother me because whether I'm bowling with a pink ball or next morning, you know what I mean? I'd just
bowl it.
Yeah, all depends. It kind of depends on the state of the game, doesn't it? She's then a little bit naughty.
Yeah.
There's gamesmanship involved in all of this, remember, but it seems very frustrating.
It does seem odd, doesn't it? And for a spectator-based game, where people come and pay their money, that we do have day-night test matches with a pink ball, which keeps the game going. And if you did just substitute the red ball for a pink ball, you could play on. But people say, well, it becomes a different game. But you could also say, well, that's just the vagaries of the game. If you turn up tomorrow morning and it's sunny, and that's just part of the ebb and flow of the game. That's just your luck in that situation. That's one way of looking at it. The other one is, it undermines the integrity of the game. Because you play with a red ball and you change it to a pink ball if the light's bad. Actually, we might have played. At which point do you then change it from the red ball to the pink ball? If the light gets a bit better, say, oh no, I'll throw the pink ball off now, bring the red ball back. How old's the red ball?
Whatever it is we're rattling on about, they haven't been able to sort it out for a very, very long time.
They have improved though, Thomas. Things have got better.
Yes.
Because this, back in the day, we probably wouldn't have played all day because the lights have been. At least the lights have been on all day. So at least we got a bonus 44.2 overs or whatever it is, 40.1 overs.
Yeah. Back in the day, you're right, we would have been off. So I think didn't a memo go round that we need for Test match cricket to try and stay out there later and what have you.
Yeah, I think they so it's possible they've reduced the threshold for coming off or increased it or whatever the case may be. But the umpires are still out there. I can't see us playing again today because the light's not going to get better. We can go on until, I think, is it 7 o'clock the official close today? So we can play until 7:30, but I think we have to be playing by 7.
Well, Dickie, don't you remember Dickie Bird? Absolutely hated it, didn't it? Bad light and everything, He would absolutely sort of like, I don't know, it's not my fault, you know what I mean? I'm not doing this, you know what I mean? And people were getting very, very frustrated with it.
Yeah, and in a way, it's not the umpires' fault. They're getting booed as they walk off. 1 or 2 spectators as they walk off the ground. But the regulations are set, and they have to adhere to them. And there is a safety, health and safety issue for the umpires as well. I suppose the way the game is being played now, people belt it, don't they?
Sure.
Just before the last ball before they came off, Harry Brook went for a huge drive. Imagine that had been drilled back and it hit the umpire.
Actually, fair point on that, actually. That's supposed to be the biggest threat these days. You know, you see the way this modern game's going, drilling it back past. I've seen some nasty blows. I remember Luke Frexher in, was it the Blast final or something a few years back, and one drilled into his head. So I suppose there is that as well. I suppose we just get frustrated, but it's a dangerous game.
It is.
Yeah, bad lights so irritating. You can understand rain because it's quite difficult to play cricket properly in the rain.
Well, yes. Gets a bit slippery. Yeah.
And the ball gets wet. And it just that does totally change the balance of the game. And it's, you can imagine playing 7 hours in the rain. It'd be horrendous, wouldn't it?
I do remember one game though. Was it Gillette? Was it Kent? It might have been Kent versus Middlesex or something. A long time ago. It was absolutely lashing it down. Yeah. Do you remember that one?
Well, what I do remember is a one-day international here on this ground, England against Australia.
Yeah.
And it was tipping down, and they just played to a conclusion. I think Greg Chappell was batting for Australia.
Yeah, something like that.
Dig that game out, Zolt. In the sometime in the 70s.
Well, you don't want to catch a chill, do you? You don't want to get a chill.
And you really could on TV. You really could closing down.
I can vividly remember watching it on the telly.
Yeah, and I'm sure there have been other games as well.
Yeah.
Lord's finals, whatever, where you kind of want to play the game to conclusion. In a way, one-day cricket kind of lends itself a bit more to try and stay out there, whereas the long form, you want to keep the integrity of it.
Well, before all the drainage was put in at Middlesex, they used to get absolutely livid because you'd have this sort of downpour the last session of the first day or something, and then they'd cover it, but then it was so soggy that you'd come in the next day, bright sunshine, and all be told to go home, you know what I mean? And people turn up, you're in bright sunshine, it's 30 degrees, but because the playing surface was still so bogged out, you couldn't get back out there, so that had to change.
Yeah, and it has. It's a massive improvement, isn't it?
Huge, yeah.
All the grounds now, the drainage is so much better. What do you think of this ground today? I mean, they absolutely lashed it down yesterday, and this morning. It was hammering down at 5:30 this morning.
Yeah.
What
are you doing at 5:30?
I got woken up by it.
Oh, did you?
I heard it, yeah. It was going
thunder at 5:30 this morning.
You might have been going up for your run.
Go for a run, yeah.
It's a bit early for me. I think the dog was like whimpering, at the noise around and about. Have you found that game, Zoltz?
I have indeed. It was 1977, the third one-day international in the Prudential Trophy between England and Australia. England 242 all out. Didn't use their full 55 overs out of 54.2 after being 161 for naught. Mike Brearley 78, Dennis Amiss 108, then a bit of a collapse, and Australia 246 for 8 off 53. I have a memory of
Greg Chappell scoring runs.
Greg Chappell 125 not out off 137. The Wisden report: the final stages were played in heavy rain against a blinding low sun at the Vauxhall End with pools of water in the middle.
Heavy rain and a blinding sun. Wow, that sounds interesting. That's a mixed bag.
So sometimes when there's a will, there's a way. But
yes, I think also that there are different kind of umpires. There are some umpires that I used to play with, and I don't think they've changed. Human beings don't change. Some people say, yeah, get on with it, get on with it, sort of thing. And I think some are a little bit more susceptible to it. It's a bit like the ball changes. I used to throw the umpire the ball. They used to go, get on with it. They'll hit it back into shape, And you thought, oh, thanks so much. But then, on the other side, someone would go, oh no, I can see that. It's people's views of it, and I think they've tried to then, with light meters and what have you, get a sort of a benchmark. But I don't know. Could we be playing now? Have you played in this cricket? Have you played in this light, Simon?
Oh, well, all the time.
Ebbs, have you
I feel like I played plenty of cricket. It feels lighter now than it did earlier when they went off.
Yeah.
But who knows?
It's been grisly all day.
But it has been a bit grim. You can see the shadows on the feet, which is usually an indication what you see, sort of that changeover of light in a day-night match.
Yeah.
So,
and the bats get shiny.
Yeah.
That's when you know all.
That's when you know it's all happening. So yeah, a bit grim.
Listen.